Hi, I'm Ratna, and today we shall discuss a very interesting chapter in the book. It's Mrs. Packletide's Tiger by Hector Hugh Munro. As usual, when we talk about this lesson, we will first talk about the author, then we shall talk about the story. What is the story about? Then we shall do a brief summary of the story. After that, we shall do the lesson in detail, wherein I shall explain every line in detail with the word meanings, etc. Once we are done with that, we shall then talk about the character sketch or the character traits of some of the important characters of this lesson. Finally, we shall do the probable questions and come to the end of the lesson. Hector Hugh Munro. We are now talking about the author. He is, yes, Hector Hugh Munro. Hector Hugh Munro was born in Burma, now it's called Myanmar, in 1870. Initially, he worked as a journalist and then gradually he took to writing short stories. He made a big name by writing short stories and he wrote under the pen name Saki. That was his pen name. So, whenever you come across a book or a story written by Saki, you know it is Hector Hugh Munro. He was considered a great master of short stories. And most of his short stories, interestingly, are a satire. What is a satire? A satire is when you kind of make fun of certain norms that are existing in society. So, most of his stories are a satirical commentary on Edwardian society. Satirical commentary on Edwardian society. So, basically his stories are funny, witty, they are sarcastic, and they are always aiming at the hypocrisy, at the double-facedness, the hypocrisy of characters in society and about certain hypocrisy of culture. So, his stories are witty, sarcastic, and they aim at the hypocrisy of people in society. Incidentally, he was brought up by his 3 aunts. So, 3 women bringing up a small child. So, he must have found a lot of funny things in them, and many of his characters, in his stories, interestingly, they, are very much like his aunts. Now, let us now talk about the story. It is Edwardian society. So, what is Edwardian society? A society where people wore, clothes that were long and covered, not like what they wear today. People who were very conventional, old-fashioned. They were very rigid in their views and they gave a lot of importance to pomp and show. They did things, not from their heart, but rather to impress people. So, Edwardian society had many evils, many hypocrisies in it, and in this story he brings out one such hypocrisy. Now, this particular story, Mrs. Packletide's Tiger, is set in colonial India. What is colonial India? It is about that period where the British ruled in India, and we had a lot of Britishers, English men, English women living in India. India was a colony of Britain, as you know. Now, here he wants to ridicule some of the pretentious nature of the people of that time. So, what is he doing in the story? He is ridiculing the pretentious nature of the upper class of Edwardian society. The author draws our attention to Mrs. Packletide. Mrs. Packletide is a lady belonging to the upper class, very Edwardian and a hypocrite. She wants to shoot a tiger. Now, she's trying to impress. And how? By hunting, by shooting a tiger. Not because she wants or has a passion for hunting, but to impress people. Why to impress people? Because another lady, one Mrs. Luna Bimberton, had made a great impact on society when she flew in a plane, piloted by an Algerian gentleman, an Algerian pilot. So everybody was talking about Mrs. Luna Bimberton, and it was all in the papers, and Mrs. Packletide didn't like it. She wanted to be in the limelight. So she decided to shoot a tiger. The entire story is such a satire on, these women who are such big show-offs. Now, throughout the story, the way the author has portrayed, the way the author has told us about Mrs. Packletide, we don't like her. She comes across as not a very nice character. In the end, her companion, Mrs. Mebin, she was like, with her, she brings out how gullible, how foolish Mrs. Packletide is, and that we like. So it, in the story, it enables us to dislike Mrs. Packletide, and finally, when her gullibility at the hands of a paid companion is brought out, we can't help applauding. We are very happy. We feel good, justice has been done. Okay, now let's talk about the summary of the story. In short, what is the author trying to tell us? Mrs. Packletide is portrayed as living in colonial India, and we've already discussed what is colonial India. It is India at that time, and it was a colony of the British. Now, she was overcome with this strong desire to shoot a tiger. Why? Not because she was adventurous, not because she had a passion for shooting and hunting, but because Luna Bimberton, who incidentally happened to be her rival, had taken a flight, had flown in an airplane piloted by an Algerian pilot. So, in those days, it was a big thing to fly in an aircraft. Today, every Tom, Dick and Harry fly. Every Tom, Dick and Harry, can take a flight. But in those days, since she took a flight with an Algerian pilot, it was considered a very brave act. A lady being so brave as to fly in an aircraft, it was something that people were in awe of. So Mrs. Packletide had to take away the attention from Mrs. Luna Bimberton. So she had to do another act of bravery, courage. And it was very courageous to hunt, because it was, again, hunting was more like a man's sport, not a lady's. Though a lot of women also hunted, but if a woman hunted, she was supposed to be very brave and courageous. So Mrs. Packletide decided to shoot a tiger. Now, after shooting the tiger, what does she want to do? One, take out the tiger's skin and lay it out, show it to people. When people would come to visit her, they would see the tiger skin on the floor, and they would know she was a brave woman who had hunted a tiger. And two, she wanted to give a present to Luna Bimberton. What? The tiger claw. So she wanted to outshine who? Luna Bimberton. And what did she want to do? She wanted to obtain a tiger skin and display it ostensibly, like a big show off. She wanted to show off the tiger skin so that people would know that she had hunted a tiger.
Now, subscribe to Bright Tutee course at ₹1 per day only. Download Bright Tutee app from Play Store and get the online courses prepared by competent and experienced teachers for different education boards of classes 6 to 10. Bright Tutee courses are available for the subjects of Math, Science, Social Science, English and Hindi in English and Hindi medium. Bright Tutee follows 3-step approach, that is learning, assessment and exam preparation. In learning, topic-wise video lectures with explanation of concepts and discussion of textbook examples and questions are available with the solutions. In assessment, Topic-wise online MCQ test, practice assignments and chapter-wise question bank are available with the solutions. In exam preparation, previous year's question papers, sample papers and model test papers are available with the solutions. Sign up today on Bright Tutee and avail your courses at affordable prices.